Canada, eh?
Hey everyone, it's the Canadian Card Collector here, back again with another video. Today we're going to look at the Gretzky versus Jordan market, and I wanted to take a look at 3 different cards and the massive price gaps that you see between the two GOATs. Gretzky and Jordan are considered by many as the GOATs of their sport, and I found it really curious that the Gretzky market is so much lower than the Jordan market. I recognize that the hockey card market is much different from the basketball card market, but these price gaps are truly amazing when you factor in the PSA pop counts as well. I'm going to be looking at 3 cards in this video: the 1998 StarQuest Blue, the 94 Finest Refractor, and the 97 Upper Deck SPX base card. So these are 3 cards that are common to both sports, and I'm looking at a little bit of everything here: some refractors, some inserts, and some base cards. So you'll see that all 3 of these have huge price discrepancies, and just an interesting thought experiment about the card market in general and how hot the Jordan market is compared to even GOATs in other sports. So let's get into it. Just looking at some general data here, I pulled PSA population reports from Gretzky and Jordan. I'm only looking at PSA, not SGC or other grading companies, and I'm just looking at the PSA 10s. The gap is significant in all of them, but as you could see for the StarQuest Blue and the Upper Deck SPX, they are absolutely massive, despite the fact that Gretzky's populations are much lower in all 3 cases. So not only do you have a price multiplier, but you have a massive population multiplier as well. Just looking at the first set of cards, you could see the StarQuest Blue. Both of these were super common. The Gretzky has a population of 69 in PSA and only 7 PSA 10s. The last PSA 10 sale hasn't happened since December 2024, which is not a surprise when there's only 7 of them. But even then, it was only $61. When you look at Jordan's PSA 10 population, it's 107, and his total pop for PSA was $15.59. And the last sale in a PSA 10 of this common card, common insert, is $1,600, and that happened just in June of 2026. As you can see, that is a 26x multiplier over these two. Now, if we saw a Gretzky sell probably this year, I imagine it's going to be significantly higher, but let's just say it goes 3 to 4 times higher. It's still nowhere near the Jordan card. The next card is the priciest by far of the lot, and it's the 1994 Finest Refractor. This is the second year of refractors for basketball. For hockey, they had Finest Refractors, but it was kind of a subset. It was not its own thing. So I took the 94 set. As you can see, the population for Gretzky is 50 and a PSA 10 population of 6, with the latest sale of being 2,800. This was almost a year ago now, in September 2025. So if another one came up, I imagine it's going to be pretty much higher. The pop, though, does not compare at all to the Jordan. The Jordan population, if you include the coded and uncoded, is 1886 with 186 PSA 10s. However, with that, the last sale was still $13,000. So a huge number here, a very popular card, a very popular set with 186, and you're still going into the 5 figures. The multiplier here is only 4.8, which is the smallest of the bunch, but when you consider the fact that this is such a high price for the Jordan card, I wouldn't be surprised if the gap closes when we see the next Gretzky sale. The last card here, a lower PSA 10 pop and a much smaller gap in the PSA 10s. As you can see, the pop 44 of the Gretzky here for the 97 SPX and a total pop of 1604 for Jordan. The PSA 10 count is actually quite high for Gretzky, considering only 44 were graded, and then much lower in percentage for Jordan with 58. Nevertheless, the price gap is still massive, a 24x price gap. Now, the last sale of the Gretzky was in July of 2025, so over a year ago, while the last sale of the Jordan in a PSA 10 was just in June, so last month. I imagine, again, if we saw a Gretzky sell in this grade, it would be a lot higher, but let's just say the multiplier would still be probably 10x at minimum. So just a quick recap here. The widest gap was the StarQuest Blue in price of over 26x, narrowest gap being the finest refractor. The highest sale is the finest refractor Jordan, going over 13,000, and then the lowest was the StarQuest Blue for $60. But if you remember, that was over a couple of years ago. But what do you guys think about these price gaps and the gaps in the populations? Do you think that the sample is too small with only 3 cards? Or do you think there's really a significant gap between the Jordan and the Gretzky card market? Do you think Gretzky should be higher? Do you think Jordan should be lower? Or do you think this is just fair? This is how the market prices things, and this is how it's going to be in the future. Personally, I think this is a sign that the Gretzky market really can grow significantly. I know that the hockey card market will never match the basketball card market, but if we're talking about a GOAT, it's hard to picture anyone overtaking Gretzky, although that is up for debate as always. Would be curious to know your thoughts in the comments. Thanks for watching. See you all again soon.